Welcome back to Connecting the Dots. By now you should have some idea of what Trimble Connect is and how it can be used in your workflows. If not, there is a link in the description to the previous video where we cover what is Trimble Connect. The next step is to become familiar with how Trimble Connect looks and feels. In this episode, we're going to ease our journey into Trimble Connect with a simple walkthrough of the interface and look at how everything fits together. As we talked about in the last episode, Trimble Connect offers your project data a shared space where all your information lives. Field data, CAD data, IFC models, scan data, project analysis and other project information is all able to be stored here. This keeps everyone, whether they're in the office or out on site, working on the same up-to-date single source of truth project. But when you first open a Trimble Connect project, it's totally normal to think, okay, what am I looking at? So today we're breaking that down to show that there is a method to the madness. We'll take a quick tour of the three main areas of Trimble Connect: Project View, Explorer, and Viewer. And then we'll take a look at a couple of the extensions within Trimble Connect to see how they work with your data. By the end of this video, you'll know what each area does, what it's for, and where to find the main tools you'll be using. Before we get too far though, I do want to make a note here. There is a dedicated Trimble Connect desktop app that has slightly different functionality in some areas. Overall, the desktop app is more designed for high-performance 3D visualization and offline work, particularly for big IFC models. While the web version has a lot of the same functionality and tools, it is designed for administration, collaboration, and easy access from any device. In this series, we're going to keep things simple and focus on the web version, and we will come back to specifically look at the desktop version in a later episode. Along with keeping things simple, this episode is not a deep dive on everything in the whole UI. Instead, we'll cover the specific elements of each section also in their own related videos. Alright, let's start with the project view. This is where you open existing projects and are able to create new ones online. Here, the view can be set as a grid of thumbnails or a list depending on your preference. Trimble Connect offers several regional servers around the world for localized storage. For the most part, you will use your local server location. However, if you have teams working on projects around the world, you can switch between the server locations as needed to see the project stored in other regions. You can also choose what Trimble Connect loads by default. If the grey 3D icon is highlighted in the top right, the project will open straight into the 3D viewer. If not, it'll open into the Explorer instead. With all this covered, it's time to open a project, and we're going to take a look at the Explorer to start with. The Explorer is basically the project filing cabinet, looking at what the files are, rather than what they represent, giving you a quick way to manage, find, and share specific files related to a project. In the Explorer, you'll also find extensions down the left side of the view in the menu panel for different types of data, giving you specific workflow for things like data, reality capture, field data, and to-dos. Here, there are also project management tools like Activity and Teams. We'll come back to take a quick look at some of these extensions in more detail later in this video. Down the bottom is also the settings, where you can manage the project details, specific permissions, and also what extensions are active in the project. With the Explorer covered, let's jump into the viewer. This is where your model comes to life. Instead of looking at what the files are, you're now seeing what they represent, with the ability to visualize the data and see how everything fits together. In this view, you'll find a toolbar across the top with tools for measuring, visibility, sectioning, markups, clash checks, and more. On the left side is a menu categorizing the data into different groups to make viewing and navigating the data within your model easier. Then on the right, there is a properties panel as needed with metadata, quantities, and other object information for selected data. Also in the viewer, elements and layers can be turned on and off to help narrow down to specific data. Colors and transparencies can be changed on selected elements, and there is also the ability to see attribute information against selected items. In the end, the viewer shows you all the data and related information to the supported file formats in the project. It's about helping you see exactly what you want, when you want it, without digging through menus and the entire project model. So these are the three main views that Trimble Connect has. However, as mentioned, there are also several specialized extensions that it's worth taking a quick look at too to understand what they do. Starting off, let's look at the field data module in the Explorer. This is specifically designed for teams using Trimble hardware in the field. In here, you can upload and view what feature code library is being used against the project. You can also open the field data viewer. which is a 2D map where you can view the field files related to that project, showing all the points collected in the field. This view also gives the ability to see the data overlaid on Street View or satellite imagery for projects on datum. In this view too, you can process coded points using the FXL directly in Trimble Connect. This gives both a quick view of the data in a file while also being a great way for office teams to quickly see what's been captured on site without needing to download the data or use specialized tools. This way, the office can collaborate with field teams while they are still on site if needed, minimizing the need to return later on. Still in the Explorer, the Data Manager gives you full control over how files are stored and moved within a project. Here you'll see a folder structure which you can click on the name to open. This is entirely customizable based on your organizational needs. All of your files in the project are stored here. For files that can be visualized in Trimble Connect, there generally is a thumbnail of the data next to them, while other files can still be stored and recalled here as needed for use with external packages. There's also a properties panel on the right hand side showing you the information for whatever you've got selected in this view. Here you can also check in and out files, move or delete files. Don't stress, the deleted items can be recovered. It's clean, simple and perfect for keeping everything organized. You can also select multiple files via the tick box on the left hand side, or you can use Ctrl and Shift to select files as needed, like Windows Explorer. When multiple files are selected, you'll see a slightly different set of properties on the right, and also jump straight into the 3D viewer of selected items. It's one of the best tools for keeping your project consistent and organized while also being able to share and store data remotely. Next, we'll look at BCF topics and to-dos. These two tools are your main collaboration features in Trimble Connect. BCF topics are for model-based issue management within BIM workflows. Basically, if the issue needs a 3D viewer or relates to model geometry, then use a BCF topic. To-dos are for more general task tracking that doesn't rely on the model. So if it's a broader workflow or an admin task, then use a to-do. In the Explorer, for these items, you'll see a list of everything happening in the project. In the viewer, these items take you straight to that exact location in the model where they refer. Lastly, here we'll look at reality capture. This is Triceps and is an optional add-on and is where your point clouds will live. In the Explorer, this lets you view the scan extents, compare different scans, and also overlay the georeference data on imagery. This gives you a quick overview of what scan data exists in the project without loading data-heavy models. In the viewer, you can load the actual point clouds and interact with them alongside other data within your project. Along with this, there is now a multi-pane view for scan data, which is particularly useful for trajectory-based project models like that coming from mobile mapping solutions. There are plenty of other tools in Trimble Connect, and this is just a high-level tour of the main areas you'll be using in your day-to-day to get familiar with how it works, so you can get up and running faster. Don't worry though, we will go deeper into specific workflows in upcoming episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time when we're going to look at creating a project in Trimble Connect.